Being broke at 25 is a story. Being broke at 40 is a different thing entirely. At 25, broke is almost normal. It's practically expected. You're just starting out. You haven't figured it out yet. And there's this unspoken understanding from everyone around you that you've got time. Time to earn it back. Time to work it out. Time to fix it. At 40, nobody says that to you. And if they do, you don't believe them anymore. Now look, I'm not here to make you feel worse about where you are. I'm here because I think this conversation doesn't get had enough. Most personal finance content is aimed at people in their 20s building from the start. This is for people who are rebuilding. And there's a difference. If this sounds like you, if you've landed here because something in that title hit you in the chest, hit that like button. It helps more people find this who need it. And let's get into it right now. The first reason being broke at 40 hits different is responsibilities. All right, first up, the weight of what you're actually responsible for. When you're 25 and broke, the person most affected by your financial situation is usually you. Maybe a partner, maybe a flatmate, but broadly speaking, the blast radius is small. You eat beans on toast for a week. You don't go out, you survive it. At 40, the blast radius is completely different. There's likely a partner. There might be kids. If you've got a teenager at home, you're watching them grow up in real time and you're aware, painfully aware, of what you can and can't give them. Not just materially, but the stress you carry in that house, the conversations you avoid, the things you say yes to when you know you probably shouldn't. Being broke in your 40s isn't a personal inconvenience. It's a weight that sits on your whole household. And that's a completely different psychological experience to being skint in a shared house at 25 with a packet of pasta and absolutely nothing to lose. The version of broke you're living now has people depending on the outcome. That's why it feels heavier, because it is heavier. The second reason is that you can see the clock now. At 25, retirement is so far away, it might as well be fictional. Pensions, state pension age, compound interest. None of it feels urgent because it isn't urgent yet. You've got 40 years, you'll sort it. At 40, that maths has changed completely. If the state pension age is 67 and you're 40, right now you've got 27 years. That sounds like a lot until you realise 15 of those years have already gone since you were 25, thinking the same thing. And if you haven't been building anything in that time, no savings, no investments, no pension worth speaking of, you can feel that gap. You can actually calculate it. That's the thing about being broke at 40 that doesn't exist at 25. At 25, you don't know what you don't have yet. At 40, you know exactly what you should have had by now and don't. That's not guilt for its own sake. That's useful information. The question is whether you let that awareness paralyze or whether you use it as a reason to start moving. The third reason is that people around you have moved on. This one doesn't get talked about enough. At 25, almost everyone you know is in a similar position. Nobody has a house, nobody has savings. You're all figuring it out together. And there's a solidarity in that. At 40, the gap between you and your peers starts to become visible. Some of them own houses now. Some of them have paid off cars, pension pots, holiday money. Some of them have built businesses, got promoted, found careers that pay properly. And when you're broke at 40, you're not just dealing with your own financial situation. You're dealing with a social comparison of watching the people you started with move into a different bracket while you're still in the same one. That's a particular kind of loneliness that being broke at 25 doesn't give you. Because at 25, you haven't diverged yet. At 40, the divergence is undeniable. The fourth reason is your body. Now, this one sounds like it belongs in a health video, but hear me out. At 25, if things go wrong financially, you've got a physical reserve to draw from. You can work longer hours. You can take extra shifts. You can run on poor sleep, bad food, and stress for extended periods because your body absorbs it. At 40, that bank account is depleted too. You're already carrying a physical workload if you're in a manual job, and I know what that's like from 10 years of early mornings in all weather. You're already arriving home tired. The idea of then building something on the side, doing the extra work, pushing through the evenings, it's not impossible, but it costs you more than it would have cost your 25-year-old self. And when financial stress compounds on top of physical tiredness, it doesn't just slow you down, it messes with your decision making. You make worse choices when you're exhausted. You put things off. You'll start tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes a pattern. Now, if you're watching this and nodding at that, if this is genuinely sounding like your life, I want to ask you something. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is going to be documenting exactly what it looks like to be in this position and actually do something about it. Not theory, not advice from someone who figured it all out at 28. Real time, real decisions. The fifth reason is mental weight. Being broke at 25 carries embarrassment. Being broke at 40 carries shame. And those are not the same emotion. Embarrassment is surface level. It's about what other people think. It fades when the situation improves. Shame goes deeper. Shame is the story you tell yourself about what your financial situation means about you as a person, as a man, as a father, as a partner. Shame says, I should have sorted this by now. I should know better. Other people my age have figured it out. What's wrong with me? The internal narrative is one of the most destructive things about being broke at 40. because it doesn't just make you feel bad. It actively gets in the way of fixing the problem. You avoid looking at the bank account because looking at it makes you feel worse. You don't talk about it because talking about it means admitting it. You keep it to yourself and carry it quietly. And the longer you carry it quietly, the heavier it gets. I'm making this channel partly to drag that conversation into the open, because I think a lot of men in their 40s are carrying this quietly, and it's costing them more than the money is. The sixth reason is that you know exactly how you got here. At 25, broke is often circumstantial. You just haven't earned enough yet. The system hasn't really given you a shot. You haven't had the time to make the decisions that would have changed things. At 40, you've had the time. And if you sit quietly long enough, you could probably trace it. The job you stayed in too long because it felt safe. The money you spent on things that didn't matter. The opportunities you didn't take because the timing wasn't right. The plans you made and didn't follow through on. That self-awareness is brutal. It's also the thing that can save you, if you're willing to use it honestly, instead of just beating yourself up with it. Knowing how you got here isn't the same as being stuck here. It's actually the clearest possible map of what to do next. And by the way, if you want to follow along with what I'm actually doing to change my situation, subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be documenting the real decisions, the real numbers where I can share them, and the real results. No filters. But here's what 40 has that 25 doesn't. I want to end on this, because I don't want this video to be a list of reasons to feel terrible. Being 40 and broke is hard in ways that being 25 and broke isn't. But 40 also comes with things that 25 doesn't have yet. You know yourself. At 25, half your energy goes into figuring out who you are and what you actually want to do. At 40, you've probably got a clearer picture of that. You know what you're good at. You know what you can tolerate. You know what matters and what doesn't. That's not nothing. That's actually a massive advantage if you use it. You've got skills that took years to build. Whatever you've been doing for the last 10, 15, 20 years, there are things you can do now that have real value, things that took a long time to develop. The question is whether you're monetizing any of them, or whether you're clocking in, clocking out, and leaving them at the door. And you've got a reason. When you're 25 and broke, the motivation to change is vague. It's a better life, somewhere in the future, that doesn't feel real yet. At 40, the motivation is sitting across the dinner table from you. It's the mortgage you want to pay off, the teenager you want to be able to help when they're a little older, the version of yourself you want to be able to look back on and respect. That's a different quality of motivation. And when you learn to channel it properly, instead of letting it crush you, that's when things start actually to change. This channel is about the process, the real version of it. Now, if that's something you want to be part of, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.